People often ask why spiritual people struggle with relationships. It's not just spiritual people that struggle with relationships. Even people that are not spiritual, that don't have spiritual gifts, struggle with relationships. I personally think that we have missed the whole point of what relationships are, where we are in terms of life, and why God created relationships. I personally think that we have completely lost the plot. We have we are not following, or we are not understanding what the reasons were. God created relationships for different kinds of reasons. First of all, companionship. Second of all, reproduction. Third of all is to remember Him, to represent Him, to love each other unconditionally, to show up for each other, to choose each other, to respect each other, and to show His love through our relationships, our marriages. But we are not there anymore. Relationships are about transactions. Relationships are about attachment. Relationships are about control. Relationships are about ego, power, lies, and there's a whole lot of other reasons why people get into relationships. And the reasons why we struggle are similarly related to the fact that people go into relationships for different kinds of reasons. And sometimes the reasons are not so great. You go into relationships because of lust, because of loneliness, because of you just want to see yourself in a relationship. Hence, why the relationship may not last, may not stick, because your reasons were wrong to begin with. However, let's get into the spiritual part of why some of the relationships could actually not work out. Sometimes relationships don't work out because it's not the right time. God does not allow you to get into a relationship at that point because of timing. It is not the right time to get into a relationship. Some people are struggling emotionally, so they may need to sort out their emotional problems. Some people, they may need to do specific things. There's a timeline for each and every person on when they will arrive at the point where they are supposed to start relationships. And some people, black magic or voodoo could be involved, where destiny swaps have happened, or people have blocked your destiny from getting into a relationship. They can do different kinds of rituals depending on what the reasons are for not wanting you to get into a relationship. Some people struggle to get into relationships because of soul ties. You may have soul ties with other people, your exes, ex-husbands, ex-wives, ex-baby father, ex-boyfriends. You have children with those people. Some people you don't even have children with at all, but you could have a soul tie. It is possible to have more than one soul tie. So, soul ties could be a reason why you're not getting into relationships. Another reason why relationships fail, or you're not getting into a relationship or finding the love of your life, it is karmic contracts or karmic cycles. This is where ancestors, spirit guides, those that have passed that are on the other side, weigh heavily on us, whereas your ancestors struggled with abuse, for an example, physical, emotional, or psychological abuse in relationships. You will attract people that are the same, and your gut says no. So you get into a relationship, you later realize that this is not what I want, you move on. You try another one, same thing happen. You just jump ship. So karmic contracts or karmic cycles, some people will be needed. You will need to break those cycles, which is going for the opposite of what the karmic contract is. Some people, they have to get into it to get out of it. So it's different kinds of strokes for different folks. So Karmic contracts or karmic cycles could be the reasons why some of the people don't get into relationships. Generational curses could also be a problem why you are getting into relationships where people come from lineages where they struggle to get into relationships. Even if they do get into relationships, the relationships don't last or they don't stick. It could be something that's generational that needs to be healed. Some people get into relationships and they struggle to communicate. In relationships, you can't really be in a relationship where you can't communicate, where you're not patient, where you are hyper dependent, you are impatient, you don't care what another person does. Some people need more care because they come from situations where they've never really received care. And if you get into a relationship with a person that's emotionally unavailable and you are also emotionally unavailable, it will affect you both because, guys, some of these things are psychological. It is not only spiritual, but it's also psychological. Expectations are also a problem why people struggle to get into relationships because we have high expectations of our partners or what kind of partners we want. And if that person does not meet your expectations, this is where you struggle to be in a relationship or to stay in a relationship because your expectations have not been met. Some people have chosen partners. They have a kingdom partner. For an example, when you are born in a kingdom where you are supposed to be a king, someone will be chosen to be your wife or your husband. So some people similarly, where they have spiritual gifts, where they're supposed to serve, they have a specific partner that they are supposed to serve with. And hence why you can't get into a relationship because their partner is waiting for you to align with your gifts so that you guys can go serve together. Either they're still working on themselves too, either you still working on yourself. So somehow you are both waiting for each other, but not literally. But at some point when the time is right, when you are both ready, when you have aligned, then you can go get married and go and serve together. Some people struggle to get into a relationship because of trauma. How you were raised, where you were raised, some of the things that were told to you, said to you, done to you. Most times, this trauma shows up a lot in relationships where you either become avoidant, you become emotionally unavailable, you become closed off. Some people even become abusive. It could be emotionally, it could be financially, it could even be with their space. I recently had someone that I spoke to who was very stingy. I'm going to use the word stingy with their time and their space. They wanted a relationship, but they were not ready to open up space for another person in their space. Trauma is something that weighs heavily on us that we need to look into, that we need to understand, that we need to actually go deep and find out where does it come from, how does it start, how do we heal it? Because if you don't heal it, it could be the problem why you are not getting into a relationship. So I hope this brings some light. I hope this brings some understanding. There's a whole lot of other reasons why people don't get in relationships or struggling to get into relationships or struggle to stay in a relationship. I just spoke about a few and I'll keep sharing more in the future. I'll see you on the next episode. Love and light.